In the heart of Lagos, there was this family, the Okons. They believed nothing, absolutely nothing, would stop them from enjoying dirty December 2025. Not even the traffic, not even Nigeria and their inflation wahala, not even Christmas bad luck, and most of all, not even an unexpected Christmas drama that they never ordered for, but it found its way to their door unannounced. It happened so that the one person they never expected to see again came knocking on their door on Christmas Eve, holding a girl with eyes that looked like someone they knew too well. For 10 whole years, Michael Okon had lived in Canada. He left Nigeria after university. He was young, ambitious, heartbroken, determined never to return as the same person again. His family in Ikorodu treated his return like the second coming. His mother, Mama Okon, cleaned the whole house. She dusted the TV set, the microwave, the ceiling fan, and even the light bulbs in the entire house. Papa Okon bragged to every neighbor, "My son is coming back soon, no. My pride is on his way. Our God is so good to his people." Even the village elders prepared special greetings for him. But to their greatest surprise, Michael came home a different person. He was quieter, older, more guarded and nonchalant. He hugged everyone, but deep down, he carried a weight that nobody understood. Mama kept touching his face. My son, Canada has turned you into a broomstick, oh." Papa slapped his back proudly. "The prodigal son has returned. Welcome home, my son." Michael forced a smile. "Daddy, I am not a prodigal son, Biko. You traveled and that is enough," Papa argued. The whole compound buzzed with joy. Neighbors came in troops to welcome the one son whose arrival had been announced even before the year began. Amidst everything that happened, there was one person he never expected to see: Elizabeth, the girl he left behind. Okon family compound turned into a festival. Aunties were cooking giant pots of jollof rice, cousins blowing knockouts, children running about in the compound, and loud music was blasting from Papa's old speaker. But Michael stayed withdrawn. He avoided questions about marriage and questions about his life in Canada. Every time Mama asked, "Michael, which woman are you bringing home next year?" he simply smiled and said, "Mommy, leave me, oh, not now." Something was not adding up, but nobody knew what it was. And on that fateful day, the whole truth came knocking on their door. By 6:35 p.m. on Christmas Eve, the compound smelled of fried chicken and pepper soup. Everybody was happy, laughing, cooking, dancing, some preparing for the Christmas Eve vigil. Then, knock, knock, knock. It was faint but oddly persistent. Auntie Eke shouted from the kitchen, where she prepared pounded yam. "Who is knocking like they are pursuing trouble? Turn back, oh, this is the wrong house." Mama, who was in the living room eating, stood up, wiped her hands and went to open the door. The moment she pulled it open, she stood at the door dumbfounded. A woman stood there with dust on her slippers and tears in her eyes. Her voice trembled. "Mama, Mama, good evening, ma." Mama squinted her eyes, trying to recognize the face. Then her eyes grew wide. "Elizabeth." Behind Elizabeth stood a little girl with braided hair, tiny hands, and the same sharp nose as Michael. The girl was holding a small backpack and a teddy bear missing one eye. Just then, Michael, who was freshening up in his bedroom, came downstairs. The moment his eyes landed on her, he went cold. "Elizabeth," he whispered. Her lips shook. "Michael, meet your daughter. Meet our daughter." At that very chilled moment, the entire compound went silent. Even the goats chewing grass at the backyard suddenly stopped to listen. Mama grabbed her heavy chest. "Your what? Did I just hear you clearly?" Papa blinked dramatically. "No, it cannot be. We count months in this house." Auntie Eke left the pounded yam in the kitchen and ran to the living room. She rushed closer. "Oya, child, look at me." The innocent girl looked up shyly, and that was all it took. The little girl had Michael's eyes, his chin, and Papa Okon's full eyebrows. The little girl even had Michael's habit of shifting weight from one leg to the other subconsciously. Kosi whispered, Chineke mee. She looks exactly like him. Inyobong gasped loudly. Ah, this one is copy and paste though. But Michael, he stepped back like he had just seen a ghost. Elizabeth, this is not funny. You cannot just appear in front of my house with a child. It, it makes no sense at all. Tears poured from Elizabeth's eyes. I didn't come for jokes, Michael. This is Adora. She is 9 years old and she is yours. Inside the sitting room, tension, thick enough to slice, hung in the air. Everyone stood, staring at each other, speechless. In the kitchen, jollof rice burned on the fire. Pepper soup boiled over, turning off the lit firewood. Even the chicken someone was frying turned black and nobody noticed. All eyes were on Elizabeth and the child, who now seated alone on the couch, swinging her legs nervously, hugging her teddy bear. Mama asked in an annoyed tone, Why now, eh? Of all days, why on Christmas Eve? Elizabeth's voice cracked. I didn't know how to reach him, and I couldn't continue hiding the truth. She kept asking about her father. Michael clenched his jaw. You told me you didn't want children, Elizabeth. You told me that before I traveled. So, what is going on now? Make me understand. I, I didn't know I was pregnant then, she cried. Papa raised a hand dramatically. Story. Women can lie for Africa, eh? Mama shot him a glare. One more word and I will cancel your chicken quota. Everybody became quiet. Elizabeth wiped her face, trembling. Michael, I raised her all alone. I struggled. I begged life to favor me. But the older she got, the more she asked questions. And each time she asked, I felt guilty. So I came, not for drama or what I should stand to gain, but I came for the truth. Michael stood up suddenly. I need air. He walked out of the house into the backyard and stood by the mango tree, breathing hard. Inyobong followed him. Talk to me, she said softly. Michael finally cracked. I don't know what to believe. I loved Elizabeth. But when I got to Canada, things fell apart. She stopped replying my messages. Then one day, I saw photos of her with another guy. Inyobong frowned. So, you left her? I thought she moved on, and honestly, I was bitter. I shut her out. I blocked her. I buried myself in work. I never even considered she was pregnant. His hands shook. But wait though, what if the child is not mine? What if she came to ruin Christmas? What if... Inyobong held his shoulders. Or what if she's telling the truth? Michael broke down. I wasn't ready for this. The family gathered again after 2 hours of heavy silence. Papa said what everyone was thinking. DNA test, no story. Mama nodded, giving a blank stare. Elizabeth agreed immediately. Okay, I will do whatever you want. I didn't come to cause trouble. But Adora, the little girl, looked up at Michael with sad eyes. Daddy, don't you want me? That single question broke the entire house. Michael knelt beside her slowly. I don't know yet, sweetheart, but I want to try. Elizabeth covered her face with both hands and wept. Everyone followed suit. Everyone cried. Even Papa pretended he was wiping sweat. That night, at midnight mass, the entire Okon family sat in different rows, confused, ashamed, suspicious, hot, and terrified of what the morning would bring. The very next day, they drove to a diagnostic center in Lagos. The whole ride was tension, a kind of tension you could cut with knife. Adora sat in the front, arms folded. Her mom sat beside her with an expressionless face. Michael sat at the back, staring at the back of her head, like he was trying to read every bad decision he made 10 years ago. When they arrived, people in the waiting room whispered, Ah, that's the Okon family. Is it not them that woman said has a child? Chai, Christmas drama don't start though. This one go make sense, I swear. Michael closed his eyes. This was his nightmare. When the nurse called them in for sample collection, Michael's hands shook so much, the nurse almost held it still for him. Elizabeth watched him with an expression that mixed anger, regret, and something darker, a secret. A secret she didn't want to reveal, not yet. That evening, chaos broke loose. Mama Okon could not take it anymore. She dragged Elizabeth aside. Nne, if you want this family to accept you and this child, better be sure of what you are doing. Elizabeth snapped. You think I want to be here? You think it is easy for me? Do you think I plan my life to be like this? Mama Okon's eyes softened for the first time. What happened between you and my son? Elizabeth looked away. Her lips trembled, but she kept quiet. And that silence told Mama Okon everything. There was more to this story, much more. Something dark, something painful. Later that night, while the family sat in the compound peeling oranges, Michael finally spoke. His voice was low, broken. I left Elizabeth badly, he said in regret. I was young, excited about Canada. I didn't even say goodbye properly. I blocked her everywhere. I didn't want any distractions. Mama Okon gasped. So, you just abandoned her like rapper? Eh, my son, was that how I raised you? Michael swallowed hard. I thought she moved on, and when she told me she missed her period, I assumed she was lying. Elizabeth looked at him with pure disbelief. So, even now, you still think I'm capable of that? He couldn't answer, and that answer broke her. At midnight, Elizabeth received a phone call. Her hands were shaking, her eyes widened. She walked to the backyard, speaking softly over the phone. No, don't ever call this number again. I told you that I am handling it. Please, I can't let them know yet. Unknown to her, Adora was standing right behind her, listening. Her small heart sank. Mommy, who was that? She queried. Elizabeth jumped out of her skin in shock. It's nobody. What are you still doing awake? Come here, love. Let's put you to bed. But Adora was not giving in. She shouted loudly, Mommy, are we in trouble? Elizabeth knelt and hugged her tightly. No, my love, you are safe with Mommy. But the truth, Elizabeth was lying. Something was haunting her, something from her dark past, and it was getting closer each day. The diagnostic center called. The results were ready. The entire family rushed there like people chasing a lost destiny. Everyone was sweating. Even the air conditioner couldn't cool them. The doctor opened the envelope, paused, and looked at them. Then he said the words that would change everything. The child is 99.03% compatible with. They all held their breath. Mama Okon was whispering prayers. God, I beg, don't put my family to shame. This is Christmas, so. Papa Okon was clutching his chest dramatically. Elizabeth's hands trembled, and Michael felt his soul leaving his body. Compatible with Mr. Michael Okon, the doctor finished. The room exploded. Mama Okon screamed. Papa Okon shouted, Praise God, somebody. The nurses peeked in, wondering if someone fainted. Elizabeth just stood like a stone. No smile, no relief, just fear, deep fear, because she knew the truth. This result would bring someone dangerous back into her life, someone she was running from, someone who would not stop until he got what he wanted. That night, while the family celebrated, Elizabeth received another phone call. She didn't pick. The phone rang again and again. Finally, she answered. A deep, cold male voice said, So, the DNA came out positive. Good. Now we proceed with the plan. Remember our agreement. Elizabeth's eyes filled with tears. I beg you, please, leave my daughter out of this. The voice chuckled. If you don't do what I said, I will tell the Okon family what you did 10 years ago. Do not test my patience. Elizabeth collapsed on the floor, shaking, and in that moment, Adora stepped out of the shadows. Mommy, what did you do? Elizabeth looked up, broken, terrified, cornered by her own past, and whispered, Everything I tried to protect you from has come back. In that moment, Michael walked into the kitchen, on his way to the fridge for a glass of water, when he saw Elizabeth on the floor. Elizabeth, why are you in the kitchen all alone and on the floor? Have you been crying? Elizabeth swallowed hard, forcing a smile. No, nothing. I just needed fresh air. Michael stepped closer. You are shaking. What's the matter? She hid the phone behind her wrapper. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. But Michael wasn't convinced, especially not after everything that happened in the last 24 hours. especially not since the DNA test they received earlier. And now, seeing her trembling in the cold night, pushing her phone away, eyes filled with fear, he knew that something was definitely off. Is this about the DNA? He whispered. Elizabeth shook her head quickly. No, no, everything is fine. But truly, her voice cracked and a single tear escaped her eye. They all slept that night with mixed feelings. This year's Christmas was one to remain fresh in the Okon family's memories. They felt their Christmas was ruined or filled with a bittersweet revelation that no one expected. And the very next day, which was Boxing Day, the unexpected happened. The man Elizabeth had been hiding underneath the ringtone the past few days came knocking on the door. Rewind to about 10 years ago, the night before Michael left for Canada. He had a serious fight with Elizabeth, a terrible fight, and he left angry. Elizabeth left heartbroken. That same night, she sought comfort from the wrong person, a man she should never have trusted, a man who left scars that still haunted her, the very man that had now come back. Bang! There was a loud knock. It wasn't gentle, not normal. It was a dangerous, heavy knock, deliberate, calculated. Papa Okon woke up instantly. Mama Okon rushed out in wrapper, clutching her chest. Michael rushed to grab the nearest object he could find, a pistol. In your bum clung to Mama like super glue. Who is knocking like that, eh? Papa shouted. Michael stepped forward and said loudly, Everybody move back. The knock came again. This time it was slow but loud and threatening. Elizabeth whispered in horror, It is him. A cold male voice echoed from outside the gate. Open this door now. I am here for my daughter. Where is she? The entire Okon household froze. Mama whispered, Which daughter is he talking about again? Elizabeth's lips trembled violently. It's Ada. Mama, it's Adugo. Papa Okon gasped. Michael stood rooted to the ground, rage and heartbreak crashing inside him like a violent volcano about to erupt. Until I see the truth, the man outside continued. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is leaving this compound. Michael could feel his heart break into a billion pieces. He could feel betrayal slicing through him like a blade. He could feel Adugo's small hands, her smile, her innocent laughter, so pure. He stepped closer to Elizabeth, voice trembling. Elizabeth, tell me everything now, before I open that door. She cried harder. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought you would hate me. I thought... He held her shoulders tight. Elizabeth, this is not the time for half-truths. Speak up now. The DNA, does it have anything to do with this? Elizabeth's tears grew heavier. I don't know how he found us. I don't know how he came back. I didn't know he knows about Adugo. Who is he? Elizabeth whispered the truth she had buried for 9 years. Adugo has 2 possible fathers. Michael staggered backward like someone slapped him. Blood drained from his face. What? What do you mean by 2 possible fathers? Elizabeth, what are you saying? Elizabeth's voice broke as she finally said the words she had feared all her life. Michael, the man I've been hiding all this while. The one knocking outside. He's the one who might actually be Adugo's real father. Michael felt the room spinning. He grabbed the chair to keep himself from falling. But the DNA test, it says... Elizabeth shook her head violently. The test, it wasn't the real test, it was swapped. Someone I know switched the envelopes. I'm sorry, please. Suddenly, the knocking had stopped. Everywhere was silent, the type of silence that wasn't peace. It was the type of silence that tightens your stomach. Michael, who had lost all hope at the moment, slowly approached the door. Michael, don't! Elizabeth cried. He placed his hand on the bolt. The entire family watched him, helpless, terrified, waiting. The man outside spoke one final time. Michael, open the door. Adugo is my daughter, my blood. Michael's hand shook on the door handle. He inhaled deeply and pulled the bolt. At that moment, he knew the entire truth. He knew what betrayal felt like. He had understood the guilt and fear that lingered in him for several years. And now, he didn't know how to react. But what he did know was that Adugo was not his blood. She wasn't his daughter, although, despite all the fear he harbored, but deep down, he truly wished she was a part of him. Thank you for watching. This is African Folktales by Vivy, and I hope you enjoyed this story. Kindly share your thoughts about this story with me in the comments. I would love to hear from you, bestie. What lesson did you grab? Kindly share this powerful tale with your friends and family. Please give this story a like, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel by now, please do so immediately. Much love from Vivy to you. Until you hear from me again, bye-bye. Bye.